Sometimes it appears that scientists worry about all sorts of problems before actually doing an experiment, but there's a reason for this. One of the things scientists often want to do is to make comparisons between two things, such as comparing which of two drugs is better to treat a particular disease. It's important that the experiments to test this is designed in a fair way to allow a fair comparison. So, for example, if you want to compare which of two children can run the fastest, you could set up a race, shout go, and see who crosses the finish line first. But if one child had a 20 meters head start, that obviously wouldn't be a fair comparison. Consider a teacher who wants to test if a new way of teaching multiplication is better than the old way. The teacher could ask the class to split into two groups. Teach one group the old way and the other group the new way. Afterwards, the teacher could give the students a test and see which group did better. That sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But there's a problem with this. What would happen if the students stayed with their friends when they split up into groups? Perhaps the students who were good at maths tends to be friends with one another, so when they split into the groups, one group has more students who are good at maths. So now, even if both methods for teaching multiplication were equally good, one group might just be better at doing maths and so do better in the test. This could lead us to incorrectly conclude that one method of teaching multiplication was better than the other. The solution to this is to randomize students into the two groups. Students would be assigned to each of the groups at random. Then it would be sensible to check the maths ability of each group to see it's the same. We could do this by looking at how well the students did in each group the last time they took a maths test. We could work out the average results for both groups in the last maths test, and if they were the same, it would be reasonable to use these groups to test a new method for teaching multiplication. By doing this, we'd be setting up a fair comparison. We'd have to worry about other things as well, though, to make sure the comparison was truly fair. For example, the two groups should be taught by the same teacher, they should do the exam at the same time of day, and probably do it in the same room with comparable amounts of background noise, and so on. Let's return to our problem of comparing two medicines to treat a disease. Is a new medicine better than an existing medicine? To do this, we could split patients at random into two groups, give one group the old medicine and one group the new medicine, and measure the effect of the drugs on the disease in the two groups of patients. We would need to randomize the patients to each of the two groups. Some patients may be more sick than others. They may be of different ages, different sexes, different body weights, different races, and so on. All of these factors could affect how well the drug works. So we need to check if any factor which might affect how well the drug works is equally represented between the two groups. Is this really worth worrying about? Well, imagine the patients were not randomly distributed between the two groups. Perhaps one group had patients who were more sick, and this group received the new drug. Those patients might not respond as well to the drug as the other group, simply because they were more sick in the first place. We might then conclude that the new drug is less effective, even though in reality it might be better than the old drug. As a result, we might not use a valuable new drug, preventing patients from being treated as well as possible, and wasting the millions of pounds that have been spent on developing the drug. So it's important that when we make comparisons, we set them up as fairly as possible to make sure the results tell us what we're trying to find out. Another way of making comparisons fair is something called normalization, and we'll discuss that on another page.